Okay. Test, test. I don't think so. I think we're good.
This one is okay. Stop that one.
Yep. I stopped that one.
The other one.
Oh, hang on. Now I gotta mute XSplit first. XSplit's not actually muted. Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, hello. This is the first round that I'm going to be calling of our tournament today, and I will be calling us through the top 8. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Chris Stoyles. I've been the primary commentator down here for quite some time now. And I will be bringing you coverage of our journey into the top 8 here at the second game day of Cons of Tarkir at Midgard Gaming. So we're going to cut right into the middle of this match here now between what looks to be Abzan Aggro from Robert and Red Green Monsters from Mike Pinn. I'm going to change that so we know that he is not your traditional controlling Abzan that I used yesterday. He is beaten down. It looks like we're going to have some blocks declared by Mike. You see Abzan Ascendancy in Robert's hand. That's an interesting card. I believe that's an Athreos on the far side of his hand as well, alongside 2 more Skull Hunters. Discard 2 cards. Mike is going to have to pitch a land and either a Stoke the Flames or a Dragon. See which one he goes with. Looks like he's thinking about keeping the Stoke here for removal. Can't blame him for that, and you see that's exactly what he is going to do. Courser's going to reveal a land. That's a good thing for Courser to do. Second Courser going to be added, so this is going to add a little bit of life stability now for Mike. He is going to go to 19. Still at a healthy life total here. The Courser Caryatid combination is not something that aggro decks like to see. Robbie's going to draw his card. That is a... I can't actually tell what that is. So here's Athreos.
It's a banishing light.
Is it a banishing light? Yep. Okay.
Banishing light's in Robert's hand.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Looks like here's another Caryatid, so Mike is effectively turtling up here. He's going to get in for 2 points with these Goblin tokens created by his Rabble Master. I believe that is a Tormented Hero drawn for turn for Robbie. So there that is. Here's 3 mana. Here is Abzan Ascendancy. So all of his creatures get +1/+1 counters, and whenever a non-token creature dies, then he gets a 1/1 flying spirit token. It looks like Mike has a response here. He is going to Stoke the Flames to kill one of the Skull Hunters. Mike is going to pay 3 life, so that does not go back to Robbie's hand, quite obviously.
Not to mention with the combo of the Athreos and the Abzan Ascendancy that he's going to get 2 triggers every time something dies.
True. Now, of course, it's the Athreos triggers are irrelevant with tokens, so long as, you know, your opponent doesn't mess up, basically. Like, the tokens you can say, yeah, I'm not going to pay life, but they're gone. So, but, however, Abzan Ascendancy is going to be quite strong here, particularly because it adds enough devotion to turn on Athreos. So it looks like Robbie's going to try and line up some attacks here, but he's pretty brick-walled other than Athreos with these coursers, and you see he comes to that conclusion as well. Gonna leave the Tormented Hero and Mardu Skullhunter back on the defense for now. Here comes Xenagos. That's gonna make a 2/2 blocker as well.
Is it Tormented Hero or no? That's now the Skullhide that can't block.
Scarhide is the one that can't block. Tormented Hero is the heroic. Robbie's gonna draw another card. It's worth noting that Abzan Ascendancy is one of the ones that gets better in multiples.
Oh yeah.
And now it looks like we're seeing an all-out swing here, which makes me curious what Robbie drew.
The 15 coming at Mike.
See, here is the blocks. We're going to see a double block on the hero, single block on the Skullhunter, single block on the Athreos, and single block on the other Tormented Hero. So it looks like... So now you see the Athreos trigger is going to happen, so we'll see how much, if any, life Mike wants to pay. Here's some spirit tokens. Looks like Mike is going to pay all of it, so get those guys out of here. This Athreos doing a ton of work here. And of course, Spirit's now in play because of Abzan Ascendancy. And here comes a Banishing Light on Xenagos, so get that out of there. Pretty impressive setup that Robbie's got going on here.
It's good to mention that Athreos is no longer active.
No, Athreos is not currently online. There is only 5 devotion for Athreos currently in play.
Mike lays a Rabble Master with another Rabble Master on the top of his deck.
Yeah, so the Goblin gets in for 1. Robbie says, I'm the beatdown, I'll take it. So now he'd love to get another Abzan Ascendancy to put some tokens on these evasive creatures. Looks like he finds a forest instead. He's trying to see what he wants to do this turn, if he's in danger of dying. Rabble Masters in tandem are kind of scary. I think Robbie's trying to figure out exactly what's going to happen here on this attack.
I do believe he if he does attack, Robert will still survive on 2 life.
Well, here's an attack, and it looks like we're going to see a Titanic Growth, and that's actually lethal. The pump spell coming out of the blue and steals Robert game 1. Titanic Growth with evasive creatures, not the worst. Going to take down red-green monsters. So now we're going to go to the board. Looks like Mike reaching right for Nylea's Disciple.
Destructive Revelry.
Yeah, there's some Arc Lightnings coming in as well. And I believe there's a Magma Spray among those cards. Lots of potential options for Mike here. Again, this is a match with top 8 implications. So obviously both players very eager to get a win here.
Mike boarded out a Nissa, I see.
Which is not that surprising versus this aggro deck. The Nissa is quite slow. And doesn't really impact the board the way that Mike wants it to.
The lands don't gain trample, do they?
The lands have trample. Nissa is good on the offensive. The problem is that you need to efficiently have 6 mana sources to play her and get good use out of her on the first turn.
Yeah.
And the problem, of course, with that is that where Robbie is such a beatdown deck, that adding a 4/4 to the board on turn 4, 5, 6, whenever he gets the chance to do so, may not be enough to stop the onslaught of heroes and skull hunters and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Mike also boarded out his Rabble Masters, I do believe,
Which again makes sense
Makes
because
sense.
Rabble Master is a very aggressive creature, and Mike needs to be playing the control role in this matchup. Adam Jennings is in the feature match room, I think.
I don't think Jennings is here.
Well, that sounded like Adam Jennings. I don't know if it is or not.
Yeah, I did hear Jennings like.
Alright, so the sideboard has happened. Looks like we're going to get Game 2 underway. Robert Prouse is up a game with Abzan aggro. Mike Pinn going to look to come back here with his red-green monsters deck. And I saw Chief of the Edge in Robbie's hand, but I don't see any land. Looks like he's going to be like, oh, he's got one land, but doesn't cast a single thing in his hand. I see Elf, Caryatid, couple of lands, Lightning Strike,
Mystic.
Magma Spray, and another land. A hand that doesn't add a lot of pressure to the board, but it is good at controlling the board, so I don't think it's a hand that Mike is going to mulligan here. And you see he is not going to mulligan, he's going to keep.
I believe I'd keep in the situation Mike's in as well, because it does
Oh,
add
certainly.
effective early game removal, and Mike can always just draw his late game stuff.
Yeah, so Mike is going to lead on Elvish Mystic. Presumably to set up turn 2 Scryland into a Caryatid here. So you see another Mystic drawn. Here's a Scry.
Shall Scry.
And probably just going to develop Caryatid here.
Yeah.
There that is. Once you get the efficient blocker in play. You see a life gain land there for Robbie. I'm not sure if he's playing a Johnny's Pride Mate or not, but that might explain that. Could also just be an availability issue. You never know. So Courser of Crewfix, a fantastic draw for Mike. So there's a Destructive Revelry on top.
Yet again, a card that aggro decks do not like seeing.
Well, the Revelry is kind of interesting here because Robbie currently does not have anything that it targets. However, the knowledge now of Destructive Revelry will allow him to play around it to the point he doesn't get blown out by it. And you see Mike realizes this, so he's just going to ship it right to the bottom. He needs to find action instead of something that's situationally reactive.
I was more saying that the Courser, but
And actually, it's a good thing for Robbie that Mike did ship it, because here
Oh.
is a Banishing Light, and I also saw a Spirit Bond in his hand. So
Yep,
I think
is a
I'm
Spirit
willing to
Bond.
bet that Robbie is pretty happy that that got shipped.
Mike goes on the Manadork beatdown plan,
Yeah,
swings
here-
in for 2 with the Elvish Mystics.
Here come the Mystics. So Robbie gonna drop to 19. Reaper of the Wild's the pickup for Robbie. Now that's a good one. So oh,
He said
actually,
it
it
was
looks like it was Anafenza. It looked like a Reaper of the Wilds. 2 Lightning Strikes.
A strike and a Magma Spray.
Oh,
actually.
sorry, Strike Spray. Yeah, he only has 3 mana, you're right. Either way, kills it dead. And Mike draws a very good card. Here comes an attack for 6. Top deck, Mike's deck likes him right now, apparently. See if Roberts does. So Abzan Charm is a clean-cut answer to this Sarkhan. Unfortunately, Robert doesn't have anything else really on the go right now. It looks like he's going to get Spirit Bonds into
Gonna
play.
lay the Spirit Bonds and still have mana up for the Abzan Charm.
Yes, the Abzan Charm still in his hand, ready to go. Looks like Mike going to take a look. I believe he picked up a second Abzan Charm for the turn, actually.
Yes. No, he drew a Swamp return, I believe.
Well, there's 2 gold cards in his hand, and yeah, no, it looks like it was actually another Abzan Charm because there is a second one in Robert's hand. And here comes an attack with the Elvish Mystics. Mike now empty-handed. Looks like he picked up a Caryatid for that turn. Unfortunately for Robert, he is only picking up land. So it looks like he's thinking about using this Abzan Charm to try and draw cards here. Which wouldn't actually surprise me that much, because he does need to find some pressure before he dies to Mystics. But it looks like he's going to wait until Mike's end step to see if he makes a scary threat that he wants to exile with the Charm.
I think Mike drew a lightning strike per turn.
Alright, so now it looks like Mike is going to ship. Goes to 6. Dangerous territory.
He drew a swamp and
A Swamp Tormented Hero, and it looks like his draw for turn might have been an Utter End?
Yeah, another
Yes.
end. Oh, that's a Bloodstain hero. Bloodstain hero?
That is a Blood-Soaked Champion.
Blood-soaked champion.
And it looks like he's going to pay the 1 off Spirit Bond to make a Flying Spurt. So now the Spirit Bond's going to start to try and gain some value here.
Oh no!
Looks like Mike just with 2 lands in his hand here. Not any action. You see now he has to hold back.
This could.
Second Utter End picked up now for Robert. So he's got non-Stormbreath Dragon threats pretty sufficiently answered right now. So here comes the Bloodsoaked Champion. And looks like Mike is going to trade a Mystic for it. So now Robert going to just raid it back.
Play it again. And get another Spirit out of it as well.
Yeah, so I believe Spirit Bond reads when a non-token creature enters the battlefield.
You may pay
You can pay 1. I think that's when it triggers. So you see Mike was also curious about that, wondering about getting him getting a Spirit there, but Robert knows the interactions of his deck. Looks like we're going to see Utter End knock out Courser. Courser did reveal Stoke the Flames, which is dangerous here. Puts Robbie to 2. Alright, so it looks like we're going to see Tormented Hero.
Tormented Hero
And Spirit Bond trigger. And here comes the attack.
Robert's going to swing for 4.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to see a block, and it looks like Titanic Growth is going to knock out a Caryatid here. And gets in for 2. Mike is down to 20 now because of the life. Keep in mind the life that he did gain off Coursers. And now Stoke the Flames is the card in hand.
I think right now Mike's just hoping for another burn card or a Stormbreath Dragon or a Sarkin.
Well, that's
on
his
the
plan.
top of
His
deck.
plan is to draw a Dragon or draw the another burn spell, Stoke, Lightning Strike, whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
Looks like Athreos was the pickup here for
And
Robert.
Athreos will enter the battlefield. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 1 away from becoming active. No. Apparently 5.
And so yeah, the Spirit's getting the beat down on. And there is the Lightning Strike off of the top. Mike is going to peel a burn spell. And you see Robbie is looking. I don't believe he has 2 ways to target this Tormented Hero to get the triggers off it. His Utter End can do it once.
Utter ends his own thing, gains a life.
Gains a life,
that's
but
not
still
enough.
dies, so we are going to head to Game 3. So for having no pressure there early on, Robbie did make quite a game out of that. Spirit Bond started to gain him a lot of incremental value. Alright, game 3. Robbie is pretty critically on the play here. Both players going to draw their opening hands. Robbie is happy. He's going to start on Tormented Hero, and I believe he's got the Tormented Hero Chief of the Edge curve here, which is a pretty dangerous curve. He's also got a Bloodsoaked Champion in his hand.
And here comes the Chief of the Edge.
And there is Chief, hit for 3. And Robbie has an explosive start here. He's got Spirit Bonds in his hand as well.
Crackling Doom. Oh, no, that's the land.
There is Caryatid. Unfortunately, does not block either creature effectively due to this Chief. And there's the Spirit Bond, so here is an attack for 6. So now Robbie going to be looking to get advantage off of the Spirit Bond, just like it did before. Mike is chumping with the Caryatid on turn 2, and this is not where Mike wants to be. Here is a Courser of Crewfix for Mike, but it looks like he's got... Oh, this is an Arc Lightning. That is devastating.
Oh. And Mike also has the Destructive Reveille in hand to deal with the Spirit Bonds.
He does. Now, it looks like we're going to see a tiny bit of value extracted from it first, as Robbie with a pair of Bloodsoaked Champions in his hand.
And here comes...
It looks like it's going to be the Rakshasa... I don't know how you say that thing.
the cat
Rakshasa? Rakshasa? Whatever, it's the green-black thing.
It's the green-black demon cat.
It's the Death Dealer. We'll call it the Death Dealer, because that's what it is. It's the Death Dealer. And I believe Death Dealer is going to get Lightning Striked. And I believe Spirit Bond is now going to get Destructive Revelry. So Mike is in all-out answer everything that you try to do mode right now. Robbie with a Spirit still in play. Looks like here's a gain life land. Robbie actually still gets a fine turn here of attacking with the Spirit, playing Mardu's Skull Hunter and Bloodsoaked Champion. So, I mean, still not a bad turn for him. And, you know, he is still going to have a board.
And
there's the Skull Hunter. Now, Mike has to discard.
He
Discards a land. There's an
Draws
Ilea's Disciple, so it looks like he's going to lead on the Courser.
And an Elvish Mystic off the top.
And what is that last card in his hand there?
He had
is that the Crater's Claw?
No, Mike does not run Crater's Claw.
Alright, well here is an attack with the Champion and the Spirit. Block the Champion. Robbie says, very good, I'll raid it back. It's a free attack, he might as well.
He gets the 1 damage through.
Yep, so draw the Mystic. Reveal Nylea's Disciple on the top. Here is the Nylea's Disciple from hand. And Mike can look to start stabilizing the board now.
Mike has the other card in hand was a Ash Cloud Phoenix for Mike.
Mike runs Ash Cloud Phoenix?
Mike actually runs Ash Cloud Phoenix instead of the Pelucanoses.
Okay. That's a new one. And pretty good draw for Robbie here. He draws a Chief of the Edge. So now these Skull Hunter and the Bloodsoaked Champions both get power boosts here. So this Nylea's Disciple can no longer freely block.
It's still not enough to kill the
It still can't kill the Courser.
However,
he's fine with that though, attacking with these Bloodsoaked Champions. But now Mike just gets to play another Nylea's Disciple after playing an Elvish Mystic. And this is going to be a lot of life. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Mike's going to go
Mike is
all
back
the way
to
back
20.
up to 20.
And Robbie's going to take a draw. Get to see what that was. Here is the attack. 2 Bloodsoaked Champions and a Spirit. 7 power total.
The Mystics and the Nylea's Disciple will go in front of the Bloodsoaked Champion.
Yeah, so both of those are going to die, and those Bloodsoaked Champions are going to come back. Land is going to be the draw. Courser is going to be the reveal. Mike is going to go back to 20, and there is the Phoenix. And he's going to pass turn. So this is the idea behind the Phoenix right now, is it's a blocker that Mike gets to continuously just loop back. 3rd Bloodsoaked Champion added. That's actually kind of scary here. The amount of value that Robbie potentially has. And here's an attack with the 2 that can.
It's gonna block both of them.
Yeah, there's
Both
the-
gonna be returned.
There's the blocks, there's the raids. Looks like Robbie just has a land in his hand. And he does, it's a plains. Here's another Courser, and here is a fetch land. This is, of course, a very good combo with the fetches,
Up
is
to 21.
having 2 Coursers, Chandra on top, and that is a backbreaker. And you see Robbie now flooding out pretty badly here.
Another really good combo in the Green Red Monsters deck is the Chandra and the Courser Crewfix, being able to see what you can cast
Yeah.
before you do it.
So you see Mike called Robbie's bluff, blocked with the Coursers. Robbie did not have anything. Chandra reveals Chandra on top. So it looks like he's opting to kill one of the Blood Soaks.
The Bloodsoak champion is still going to be able to come back, though, from the other raid triggers.
It will, but the idea is that now Robbie would have to spend all of his turn raiding all 3 of them versus not. And it looks like he drew a Death Dealer for the turn. There's Death Dealer. And that's actually a little bit scary because that can attack through Coursers.
It can attack through Coursers, and it can go all the way up.
Alright, so here we see a fetch at the end step for Mike.
Gonna gain
Lose
another
1,
2.
gain 2. So Magma Spray is, I believe, the reveal, and actually that is a perfect answer to these Blood Soaks.
He'll get rid of one of the Bloodsoak champions now. Instead, he's going to go with the Chief of the Edge.
That also makes sense, actually.
It does, because now the Nileus Disciples can now safely block the Bloodsoak champions.
We're also going to see just a ping on one of the champions. Here's the draw. Was an Abzan Ascendancy.
The Chief of the Edge went to the graveyard.
No, it's in exile. He moved it there after.
Oh, okay.
Here's an attack with the Death Dealer.
Mike is going to flip it, and
He's going to flip the Phoenix.
2 damage to each player, and then he's going to block, I assume.
Yeah, so this is going to force a regeneration.
I think Mike can just safely block and flip.
Yeah, so here is the Abzan Ascendancy coming out after one of the Blood Soaks got raided back. So now they all get bigger. This Spirit Token's power is now going to start becoming a little bit relevant, because now Mike can't shoot it out of the air.
If I was Mike, I would have shot down the Spirit Token a while back, because I mean, you have stuff on the ground to block the Bloodsoak champions, but you don't really have the one flyer.
Now that being said, he now has Ashcloud Phoenix number 2 in play. So it looks like we're going to see a plus. 1 damage to you and 1 damage to doesn't matter. Robbie drew a Herald of Anafenza for the turn. A pretty neat card with the, of course, the token creating Outlast ability.
I'm like checking his phone.
So Robbie's going to say line up some attacks. And it looks like he's full swinging here. This is, oh, okay. He's going after the Chandra. He's scared of the He's scared of it ulting. Because the ultimate actually does leave him just dead.
Yeah.
Although I believe that just leaves him taking close to lethal on the board.
He does draw a Stoke.
So, it looks like we're going to see an Outlast in the second main, potentially. Okay, we're going to see a raid. So here's a couple of Blood Soaks coming back. The problem, of course, is that those guys do not block.
2 more spirits.
Okay, those guys, however, do block Ash Cloud Phoenix.
Yeah.
Profitably, I might add. Alright, looks like there's a land on top.
I believe Mike will just ping one of the spirits and just pass the turn again.
That seems likely.
Yeah, he goes with the spirit, and
There's nothing else on the board, really, that he can profitably ping, so... He's going to line up 6 mana. This is probably just going to be an unmorph.
then Mike is going to swing for 4, killing one of them,
Yeah.
putting it back face down,
Phoenix is going to remorph.
doing his job.
Robbie's at 7 now. Of course, the danger, Mike does have Stoke the Flames in hand.
Now, does Chandra have to hit an opponent, or can it just hit a creature in general?
No, it hits the player and up to 1 creature that player controls. So that's a Tormented Hero. And I think Robbie is just dead to these Phoenixes, isn't he?
If Robbie doesn't gain a life, then what will happen is I do believe that Mike will just flip it, flip the Ash Cloud Phoenix, swing, and get blocked by 1 spirit, and then now Mike's going to stoke something.
He's going to stoke upstairs.
Mike's thinking about his blocks. He just doesn't block. Mike goes to 11.
And there is the hand extension, and that is going to be the game. Mike Pinn with red-green monsters is going to take down Abzan Aggro, piloted by Robert Prowse, and Pinn is likely to move on into our top 8 here.
I'd like to point out that